What's up guys, Darkdally here, and today I want to talk to you some about survival mode settlements, the things that surround them, and well really all the general coolness of survival mode. I don't play survival mode on my main builder characters for several reasons, which I'll get into, but I do love survival mode. And I wanted to do a couple specials, and one viewer did suggest that I do that on survival settlements. Because survival settlements are built on different grounds than regular ones. Okay? Everyone has their own way they like to do it, and I've looked online, and different people like to have their main central settlement in survival mode in different places, but most people agree on one of a few places. Most people agree Hangman's Alley, Grey Garden, or Bunker Hill because they're so centrally located. Now, because in survival mode, fast travel is disabled, a central base is a must. And a lot of people say no to Bunker Hill because it's not available until so much later in the game. And really, a survival playthrough, and this is one reason I don't really do it much, a survival playthrough is really only good for beating the game, and then it kind of loses its merit because repeated actions on that character and farming and things like that really aren't an option. So once you beat the story, yeah, the way I see it, survival's kind of for beating the story. So anyway, so a lot of people say no to Bunker Hill because of that. Most people, it does seem, favor Hangman's Alley, as do I, and that is where this character's main settlement is built. Now, it's not as fancy, and it doesn't have the frills of a lot of my other settlements on characters on normal difficulties, and well, that's because of the necessity. The utter feeling of necessity for survival that you get in survival mode. Now, that's why I like to play survival mode, is because of that feeling that I'm actually trying to survive. It's because of that you can't build the big fancy stuff. Like, for instance, the respawn times are really, really high in survival mode, and I love it. I wouldn't have it any other way. I like that in survival mode, when you kill a group of enemies, you may actually never see them again. That is realistic. That is cool, you know? You go to a Koverga auto factory, you know, the Koverga plant like you do at, like, I believe this character did at level 7, which on survival mode was pretty fun and a little challenging. I killed them at level 7, and I've never seen them since. That place is still empty, and that's how it would be in real life. But that poses a limit on building because there's no more option to go and farm stuff. You know what I mean? So that's the first limitation put upon building by survival mode, is that you can't just go farm materials. Materials are much more valuable. The other limitation imposed upon settlement building by survival mode is time. It takes time to build, and you have to eat and drink. Just in building this little settlement here, which I'm about to show you, here in Hangman's Alley, this past several days, maybe even a week or more, probably a week or more of game time, largely because my TV is dark and I really can't see at night. I know, I've tried to fix it, but also because your character simply has to sleep, so you cannot build through the night anyway. It takes time, and that's food and water that you're running out of, you know? So that's another restriction. I've found myself going hungry just building, and it's like, shit, I got to get out there and do stuff. Now, so this is not like the ideal survival town that I built on a character on non-survival mode. Guys, this is an actual survival town built by a character who's actually trying to survive. I will do a, you know, ideal survival settlement built on Niali, my main character at the moment. But for now, this is authenticity, this is realistic, this is survival at its best. So let's start from right here. First of all, Hangman's Alley is a great place to have a settlement in survival. Like this is my field of bodies out here. Yeah, damn raiders. Besides the constant flow of raiders, Hangman's Alley is a great location because you can simply jog down the street and Diamond City is literally right down there. So you've got that for you. It's not too far a run really from anywhere. I mean, I don't have to show you. You guys know where Hangman's Alley is. It's damn near the most centrally located settlement on the map. It's also very walled in. Now for building, it's got a pretty low size limit. It doesn't want to let you place a lot of crap, and the size itself is limiting. It's hard to fit buildings in here. But let's start right here. What I've done is, first of all, Hangman's Alley has kind of a section like this, but for some reason in the default settlement, it's placed like back here. I believe it's right here, actually. So I tore up what they had, and I moved it down here, just to give myself some more room. If you go to build mode, there we go, you can see that I still have plenty of room in front of the entrance. Now, the first thing I wanted to do was make my own living quarters as protected and inaccessible as possible. And so, that is why, though it may look a little funky, it doesn't have the usual architectural flair I like to put into my buildings, and it kind of seems to be hanging up there, though you could reason it is supported by the surrounding buildings. The reason it is up there is simply because survival is about necessity. I don't have the extra wood and all that shit to build the fancy beams and everything. This is about practicality, and I'm all about practicality. Probably largely because I have a military background, and that is why I like that feel of the survival mode, and I like being practical in everything that I do. So that's what this is about. So accessibility is very limited. In fact, there is only one way up there, and that is with this elevator. Okay. This assures that, well, no enemies are ever going to get up here. And I also made sure that though I have doors that can close and protect me from any gunfire which may be coming, I still have enough room to see. I can still take cover, and I can still shoot at a threat approaching from either side. I focus a lot on defense, like here on the back door. I make sure that I have these stairs that come down to balconies so that enemies, even underneath the area of my settlement, I can still access them and shoot them without coming out of the safety of this. Because, okay, maybe some of you haven't played survival, and before I started playing it, again here, I have a great vantage point, and I can easily duck back cover up here. Before I started playing survival, I was really worried mostly about saving, because you cannot save your game in survival mode. Oh, I was going to show you my saves, but I don't think you can actually. I think you'll edit it out. I was going to show you my saves. You would see that there's only auto saves. You can only have auto saves. And at first that worried me, not only because the game occasionally crashing, which actually is pretty rare, but it was because I thought to myself, boy, if I can only save when I sleep, you could potentially lose hours of gameplay. Well, that's not necessarily true. When you start playing survival mode, you find that there are beds everywhere. You learn the Commonwealth intimately, and that's one great thing about survival. You learn where stuff is at. I can run from here to Sanctuary, to Red Rocket, to Starlight, to Ten Pines, without looking at the map, and go exactly there. And I know where all the trouble is. I know where to avoid the trouble. Even though enemies and items don't respawn, there are random encounters that will respawn here and there. You know where to avoid them. I know where stingwings like to hang out, and stingwings are bad trouble in survival mode. Even in power armor, they can eat you up in no time. So anyway, the safe thing worried me at first, but really, oh yes, I was saying, you learn the Commonwealth like the back of your hand. You learn where beds are, and saving isn't that big a deal, necessarily. Most of the beds will give you diseases and whatnot. You can grab an hour or two, get that auto save, and go on. So let's get back on track. I was talking about defenses, also accessibility. Everything that I need is up here. Also the generators. I try to keep the generators up and out of reach as the first thing that enemies like to go for. One generator is here. The rest of them are actually on top of the building where you cannot even see. And that's partially because of the limited space here in Hangman's Alley. Space is very limited. Let's go back up here and show you what I should have shown you when I was up here earlier. She has a little place to store her power armor, like a little shelf here that I built. She only has, she has more than one set, but they're at other settlements. And I will get into that because that's something too, is other settlements, are really big in survival mode. You want that one base, but you need others as like safe houses. You need bases at like every settlement with a box of ammo, a stock of purified water and food, just in case. Because ammo has weight, you can't carry it all around with you. Mini nukes weigh like 10 pounds a piece or some shit. I don't know. I don't even have any here. They're ridiculously heavy. Even fusion cores. What does a fusion core weigh? Fusion cores weigh 4 pounds each. So you have to leave your ammo behind. So I try to keep the bulk of it here in my central base, but I make sure that all my satellite settlements have a small amount of ammo or something, because they all work as like way stations, because there's no fast travel, you know. And so up here I have, you know, all the workstations I need within a tight confined area, easily protected from the outside, even though I can still shoot out. Using the rug glitch, you can get a water pump inside, and it still functions, thank God, so you can hide in your little place and fill your water bottles. So this is what an actual survival settlement looks like. It's not fancy. It's not necessarily finished, but you can't do building marathons. You will starve yourself to death. And you have to have that food for when you're in the field. And it's also a little sparse because, well, she can't just go, you know, I can't build a bunch of shit out of glass because she can't just go clean out the Beantown Brewery every other day, you know. Once she cleans out a place, it's gone and forever. So she has to plan ahead and say, okay, look, I've got 80 copper. I can't just use this up. Yeah, you can buy shipments of copper relatively cheap in Diamond City, but again, everything in survival is limited. So guys, here's my little place. The Hangman's Alley, it's not much, but again, you know, it's the necessity, and I like the necessity. So I think now, let's go see, you know, I'm going to show you what I've done in some of my other settlements, what I consider a good, basic, little stop-off satellite settlement. I was previously going to edit this out, because obviously I can't fast travel, I have to run there, but I think I'll actually just speed this up. One of the most notable things I found myself amused by when I started playing it in survival mode was that I found myself, even though the game is more difficult, running across the Commonwealth in little to no armor. Because I learned the Commonwealth, I learned where stuff was, and I knew where the dangerous places were, and honestly, your carry weight's so low you can't always wear big heavy armor, and you can't afford to go tromping around in power armor all the time, you know. Even with the nuclear physicist perk, you simply cannot burn up your fusion cores running everywhere. And so I found myself, and so many times, it was weird. It's like, this is survival mode, and I'm running through the Commonwealth in jeans and a jacket. It feels really, really cool. So anyway, we are coming up to the settlement right here. In just one moment. Can't even see it on the map, but here it comes right here. Okay guys, and here we are at Starlight Drive-In. Notice how it doesn't even appear on your compass at the bottom of the screen until I was actually like here. And then that's one thing I like. I actually left this recording the entire time. I never had to pull up the map, no waypoints, and I like that. I like that feeling of knowing the map, knowing where I'm going, you know? And even your compass is useless because this didn't even appear on my map until I was here. This is one of my larger stop-offs right here. And this place, well, it's a little more open. It's not as walled in as I usually have. And I will show you 10 Pines, what I've done there. But again, this is simple and this is basic. It's mostly empty because, well, I just don't have the materials to go and fill up everything, you know? There are lots of places. The reason I use such holy walls is because when I'm attacked, I can sit up here and I can fire, and then I can easily take cover. And that's what this whole section here is about. This whole upward spiraling staircase is so that I have a range of fire in a 360 degree, you know, circle around my settlement. So I can shoot at everything, I can still take cover, and it's going to take enemies a while to get up here. So it's very defensible, even though it's fairly open. And she has everything that she basically needs here. I have ice cooler full of food. Now usually I survive off of animal meat. It's imperative in any survival playthrough to go to Sunshine Tidings Co-op and get that Wasteland survival guide that doubles the meat off animal kills. That is essential. With double meat off animal kills, you can pretty much live off animal meat, which is better than this stuff anyway. This stuff gives you rads. No, I did not bother taking the lead belly perk. A lot of people say, oh, take this for survival. I say, no, I still think that perk is garbage. You can survive completely off animal meat, and if you have power armor, which any survival players can have power armor, just simply put rad scrubbers in the helmet. Bam, that perk is worthless. Anyway, so she's got basic food and water here, and this is really all that you need. And so there you have the start of what is to be a longer look I plan on taking into survival mode. I decided to cut everything else out and try to keep this a little shorter. But when it comes to survival mode, I love it. I like the feeling of survival. I like saying, what would I wear? What would I do? I would, like this picture here, be as protected as possible, and I would try to survive in this wasteland. Guys, I'm Darkdally. I hope you liked the video. I will catch you guys next time.